So let me start off with the architecture of how your Selenium tool works. Okay. The main important area of focus would be your browser, okay, which provides you web pages. Okay. So let us try to understand what exactly browser does. We have got something called as DOM, which stands for Document Object Model. Okay. So here, DOM, which stands for Document Object Model. And this document object model, the details of all the objects that are placed in a page. Okay, so I'm referring here to a page which is basically called as a web page. Okay, let us say we have got one text box and a button. So whatever details are there, those details would be recorded in your DOM, document object model, before it is projected onto your browser. Okay, before it is projected onto your browser. So if you want to perform any sort of operations on this, normally what you do is you directly open up the URL, which stands for Uniform Resource Locator. Okay, so and you're going to perform operations on the page that is getting displayed to you. Okay, so let's say this is the URL. We are referring to localhost. So I'll say localhost. Okay, port number, let's say 80. And here we are referring to, let's say, dashboard. Some location, we have got some files. So normally what happens is like whenever you hit a URL using a browser, okay, that URL is going to approach to your web server. Okay, if we hit web server, and web server is going to respond back by picking up the files from your operating system. So web server is the one which picks up the request. So the request comes in form of a URL. Okay, and once the request is received, the job of web server would be to return back with a response. Okay, so it returns back to the browser. Okay, it returns back to the browser from where the URL request has been placed. Okay, so what happens is like the way of approach would be like this from top to bottom. Okay, so here let us say we are giving some name, say test, give a name, and this is your, let's say, button, submit. Okay, submit button, and we have got text box where we have entered some text. So these two inputs, whatever we have given, those inputs are taken up by your DOM, document object model. By recognizing the object, it is going to perform all the operations. Now these operations are called as functional operations. Okay, so whenever you perform any sort of operations on your page, that is called as web page, okay, those functional operations would be recorded and they will be executed internally, giving you response like displaying the content. Okay, now for example, here I'll give a request. In return to this, I'll get back a response. Request and response. So when you're giving this inputs and clicking on the submit button, you're placing a request through DOM to the URL to the web server. The request is going to be placed. Okay, and in return, whatever is there, you're going to get response for that. Normally, this is what happens. So every object which is available on the web page will be identified with some name. Okay, we call them as locators. Okay, locators. So every object that is available will be having some unique information about it, which is called as locator. So locators, we have got different types of locators, which we are going to use in Selenium. Okay. So now when you're working on a browser, okay, what you do is you interact and you download, you work, whatever task you want, you can perform. Okay. So here, Selenium provides you an IDE, okay, which is basically used for interacting with your objects. So here we have got Selenium, which is called a Selenium IDE. Okay. So here we go. This is your Selenium IDE, which comes like an add-ins. It comes like an add-ins. So once you download and install it, this is how it is going to look like. Okay. So let me say I'm opening up a browser. Once you download, you will be able to see that you have got the add-ins called a Selenium IDE. Okay. So you can activate a browser-based environment and you can communicate and interact with it. Let me open up a page. I'll just open up XAMPP first to initiate the web services. Okay, this is your XAMPP. So I'll just say start to start the service and I'll just minimize it. So right now the service is on. I can interact by saying localhost dashboard. So it is showing me some page. This page is what is called as your home page. The first page which is displayed, it is called as home page. And in this home page, we have got two objects, that is text boxes and one button is there. Okay. So I can give, let us say, something like table name and some file it is asking. So I'll just give it as btt.html. I'll just give that and I'll say generate. As a result, some output is getting displayed. This output can be static output, it can be dynamic output, okay, which is getting displayed over there. So let me just go back. This is the table, okay, which is getting displayed at runtime. Okay. Now let us try to identify the object. Now, if you're working with Selenium and Selenium add-ins are downloaded, this is what we can do. So first thing I'll do is I'll copy the URL. Okay, I copy the URL and I'll go to the option that is Selenium ID, integrated development environment. Okay. Here we have got options: record a new test in new project, open existing project, create a new project, and close Selenium ID. These are the options provided. I'll go with record new test in new project. Okay. So I'll just click on it. As a result, it is asking you for the project name. Okay. So please provide the name for your new project. Let us say I'm going with local test is what I gave, local test, and I'll say okay. So now it is asking you for the URL. Remember, without URL, we cannot work with Selenium. Okay, so I'll just give you the URL what I've copied, that is localhost dashboard. Okay, so when I click on start recording, it is going to record all the operations that I've done. So I'll just say start recording. Okay, and you can see Selenium is right now recording the operations on it. So let us go ahead and type in some information in department and department.html and click on generate. So whatever I did, the same operations will be done by your Selenium tool. Okay, so once your recording is over, we can stop the recording. You can see on the background, this is what is getting executed. Selenium is recording those operations. So here we have got stop recording. We can press Control U to stop. Control U to stop the recording. Okay. So when you're recording, you should see to it that you're not doing any other operations except tasks on your application under test. Okay. So I'll just go with Control U to stop recording. Control U is going to stop the recording. Okay. Now it is asking you for test name. Let us say this is our first test. I'll give it as first test. First test. Okay. And I'll just click on OK. We'll just give it F as uppercase. First test. Okay. I'll say OK. As a result of this, the recording is completed. Okay. So whatever operations you did, all those operations are getting recorded, and you can see these are the operations. Open, it is opening the dashboard, performing all the functional operations, and then clicking on the OK. Last click is being performed. Okay, so I'll just analyze this to understand the things what we have performed. You can see it has opened up the dashboard, then it has performed the functional operations on it, maximized the screen, and it went on like that by performing a click operation on it. So this is a place where it records all your repository related information. Okay. So that's what I gave. So we have stopped recording. Now I can go and do whatever operations I want. Okay. So this is what I did. Step number 1 is check for website which is available at XAMPP. XAMPP is basically your web server. Okay. Here I'm giving that it's a web server. Normally we give localhost, okay, followed with /dashboard. So when you go and hit with this, it is going to open up your first page, which is called as home page. Okay, home page. Normally it will be index.html. Okay, so that is what we did. Step number 2 would be just to confirm that everything is fine. Index.html is okay. Now coming to the next step, we do recording. Recording with the help of your Selenium ID. Okay, so for performing this, we have got the option added option here. You can go with Selenium ID. Okay, so recording with the help of Selenium ID. This is what we are doing it from the browser. Okay, select the option from browser. Then comes your third step, start recording. Start recording the functional operations by providing these are the details that you have to provide. Number 1 is your URL. Okay. Number 2 is your test name. Okay. Number 3 is your project name. Okay. These 3 details you can provide, and the order is like this. First, project name will be on top. Okay. Then it will be asking for URL. After completion of URL, it will ask you for test name. Okay. Test name. So here we give it as first test. Example, we give it as first test. URL, we gave it as the same, as localhost /dashboard. And project name, we gave it as test. Okay. And this is what we did. Step number 4, perform functional operations. Okay. So what is functional operation? Let me give you that. Operations that are performed on objects in HTML page are called functional operations. Okay, we perform these functional operations as step number 4. Okay. So once you're done with this performing functional operations, we can just stop recording. Stop recording, we can use Control U. Control U is to stop the recording. Okay. Step number 6, analyze the recorded functional operations on AUT. AUT stands for application under test. Okay. Analyze the recorded functional operations on AUT, application under test. Then comes step number 7. Once you see your recording steps, so what is that you have to do is identify the objects on which the action was performed. Okay. Step number 8, playback the recorded actions. Playback the recorded actions. Okay. So this is what we did. I'll just close the URL and I'm going to perform a playback. Okay. So I've shown you about the architecture, how it looks. And now let us perform a playback. So while you're performing playback, go back to Selenium IDE where it has recorded your functional operations. You can see this is open and so on. So these are the objects on which it has performed the operation. Table name, okay. Then it has, we entered the DPT, okay. Then we clicked on the button. After clicking on the button, it extracted some details with the reference to dpt.html. And last end, what we did is we clicked on the input button. So this is what is the action that we have performed. Now I want to perform a playback. So to perform a playback, we have got a play button here. We can see run all tests and we have got run current tests. So if you have got multiple recordings, we can go with run all tests. If you're having only one single recording, we can go with run tests. Okay. So I'm running the test. You can see whatever operations I did, those operations are performed by the tool automatically, giving you the result pass or fail. So normally it will pass. It will fail at one case. Now, for example, here I'll stop my server. Okay. At this point, what it will do, it will wait for the website to open. It will not open. At that point, it is going to fail. Okay. So I'll just say run current test once again. Control R is used for that. Control R. Okay. All right. This should fail. It is failing actually. So let us check this once again. I'll perform a playback. This is coming from cookie. You can see it is not able to open up the table enough. So here it should fail. Says that it has performed the functional operations. But let me close it back and play back once. Okay, we have got a recorded script. Let me stop it. Okay, let me save this first, save the project. I'll give it as local test. Okay, local test I provided the name. And let me close Selenium and open it back. So it is coming from cache folder. That's why it is showing us the website. So I've stopped the service. And I want to just close it and initiate the playback process. I'll open up the browser. Okay, go back to the same plugins. Open up your test that you have recorded. Okay, open existing project. Okay, here we gave it as local test. Open it and perform a playback. Run current test. This should not come actually. See, it is opening up the browser. This one. It is showing you this because it is coming from the buffer. Now it is gone. See, now it is gone. Okay, so it was previously coming from cache and it was able to perform the operations on it. It is failing, but it is giving a pass. Okay, so let me just refresh the browser. Okay, browser, when I'm just giving localhost, hitting enter, it is coming. This should not come actually. Okay, and when I enter it again, it has to refresh and give me this. This is what should be happening. Okay, it should not come because server is down. Okay, but if you see here, it is still tracking this. It is coming from cache location. So if I clear the history and all, then it will fail. Okay. All right. So I'll give some point here. Playback recorded action. I'm giving a note. If the web page is recorded in cache, then the playback results in pass as the functional operations are performed on objects which are fetched from the cache or history. This can be eliminated by clearing the cache, which holds the details of objects that are placed in web page. Okay, so this is what we have to do. If we clear it, it is going to fail. Okay, second note, the test has to fail as the web server is stopped. Okay, as it is stopped. Okay. I'm just closing the browser. Let us perform the task once again. Okay, with reference to your IDE. I'm opening the browser freshly. Going to add-ins, Selenium IDE. Going with same open existing project and opening the existing one, where the actions are recorded, and I'm going to perform a playback. And it's still coming from cache. So this is what it should do. It should give you fail because the objects are not appearing. Some problem, let me re-execute it. Test execution. And make it slow. Okay. Now you can see it has stopped. Given the test execution is slow, so as a result of it, you can see it is buffering and it is trying to fetch those pages. Now it is going to fail. It will wait for some time and it has to fail. You can see it has stopped here only. At step 5, 6, 7, it is not executing because the services are not available. Okay. All right. Now this process, whatever I have shown you, it is coming in one direction. Okay. Let me show you how it is functioning. Now we discuss about the architecture. That is, when you perform any operations on your objects, that will be recorded in your DOM. Okay, and it will be recorded with reference, which is called as locator. Okay, so we have got request and response. Request is given with the help of URL. Web server is going to take in that request and give back the response. Okay, this is what we have done. And as a result of the entire process, we have got something which is called as repository. Okay, it is recording it in a repository. REPOSITORY, repository. This is the place where all your object details are recorded. You can see when we work, this is what is the repository. All the commands and instructions are recorded. Okay. So we have got entire thing recorded in our repository. So this is our repository. Okay. So it is from top, that is from browser, it is getting recorded to repository. Okay. Now there is one more approach where the same operations can be performed by writing something which is called as script. Okay, we call it as TSL, which stands for test script language. Test script language. Okay, we call it as test script language. So previously there used to be like a separate TSL script, but now it is integrated with Java. So Java plus your library of Selenium together will help you in performing functional operations. Okay, Java with libraries that are associated with Selenium are going to help you to perform functional operations. Okay, so this is what it is. And how it works, let me even show you that. I'm recording it as Selenium IDE. Okay, now check this. When it comes to your Selenium grid, the one which we have discussed is about Selenium IDE. We are discussing about Selenium grid. Okay, this is about Selenium grid. Okay, now in Selenium grid, as I told you, we are going to work with Java code. We're going to have Java in this. And we'll also have browser involved. Every browser that is there will be associated with some drivers. We call them as browser drivers. Okay. Browser will be associated with drivers. We call them as browser drivers. Browser drivers. Okay. For every browser, like we have got multiple browsers like Chrome and so on. Let me just give you some list of browsers. One is Chrome, Mozilla Firefox, Opera, okay, Safari, Edge. You have got even Explorer, Internet Explorer. Okay, so all these drivers need to be downloaded and installed in a given location. So we have to download this and we have to keep it in one single centralized space. These drivers should be installed in one single centralized space. Okay, let us assume that we are creating a folder with the name as NC drive. NC drive, we are creating a folder by name drivers. Okay, and this is the place where all your drivers will be available. All your drivers will be storing it in one place. So this is one way of approach by which we can work with script. Okay. All right. So when you're writing your Java code, we should also refer to the driver location. So browser and the browser drivers will be available in a given location. So here we are going to add up the location of it. I'll just give it as a reference to browser driver is required. Okay. So when you're writing your Java program, we should see that there is proper reference to the browser drivers. This is one way of approach where we download the drivers and work. One more method is we need internet connection. Okay. If you don't want to get these drivers, we have got a repository of drivers. Repository of drivers. The only thing that you have to do is just refer to the repository, but it requires your internet connection. That is must. Okay, repository of drivers from internet. But the problem is if there is no net connection, your code is not going to work. Okay. So these are the two ways of approach. Whatever is flexible, we can make use of it. See, Java requires drivers. So either I can refer to the one which is available online, or I can refer to the drivers which are installed by you, downloaded and installed by you in a given location. Okay, that is an operating system. So any way you can follow to download and to refer, or directly you can refer to your internet location. Okay, so I'll tell you how to refer. Okay, so this is how it is going to work. So all whatever operations you perform, they can be written in form of a script. So this script is going to perform the operation on the browser. Okay, it is going to perform. It will open the browser automatically, referring to the driver. So whatever driver you have referred, that particular browser will only open. Now, for example, here if I'm referring to Chrome browser, in this C:/drivers, we have got Chrome driver. Okay. So apart from having this Chrome driver, we need to have even Chrome drivers associated executable file. Okay. So apart from Chrome, you should also have your executable file. Let me show you that. This is your Chrome driver. Okay. And I'm just navigating to the location of Chrome driver. Okay. It is going for a search Chrome. CHRO. Okay, so when you go to Chrome driver, you should be able to see open file location. I'm trying to open the location. Here we have got a location of Chrome driver. Okay, but it is a shortcut. Again, I'll right click and I'll say open file location. Open file location. It will navigate to the actual executable file. This is the actual executable file. So I'll copy the path or directly go to command prompt, check the executable file which is here. So you can see in C program files, Google Chrome applications, we can find here our exe file that is chrome.exe. Similarly, if you are working with your other drivers, then appropriate, let's say Edge is there. Okay, so I want to navigate to Edge. Where Edge is installed, you should know about that. So I just gave Edge, right click on this, open file location. It might give you a shortcut or it can be a direct file. You can see the difference between shortcut is you'll get a small arrow here that indicates that it's a shortcut. Right click on it once again and go for open file location. Select it and go with open file location. It should give you the exact location of your executable file. Okay, so I can come here, type CMD and check out medge is the exe file. So when I say dir, you can see msedge.exe. Okay, so every browser has got an executable file. You should know the location of it. That is what I gave you here. Okay, so if you have got Chrome to be activated, we should have chrome.exe. Okay, so I'm giving here just to understand that we are referring to Chrome exe file. You should know the location of Chrome exe.exe. So we need two things. One is executable file, and number two is we need Chrome driver. Okay, so let me show you the driver what I have downloaded. Okay, so I'll go to the drive, that is C drive. In this, we have got drivers. I have downloaded long time back drivers, and these are your drivers. So if I want Chrome driver, this is my Chrome driver. Okay, so one problem is there in this. If you have latest version of Chrome exe and older version of drivers, you will get problems. Okay, your script will not run. So normally people what they are doing is they are referring to the one which is available online. That means with net connection. We will see both, but only thing is like there should be compatibility of your driver as well as browser. I have compatibility. I can show you that. Okay. So if you are downloading other version of driver, then it is not going to work. Okay. So if you want to have the driver as well as appropriate exe file, you can get a pen drive, I can share it with you. Okay. Or else what it will do is it will ask you to uninstall the latest version of Chrome and install the older version of Chrome. Okay. The version what I have, okay, 12.124.0.6367. This is one. I think I have one more version here. One more version. Let me open this. Go for help and check out for the version. 124.0.6367. No, I have only one version. 6367.207. Okay. So if you want to have your browser drivers to work, then same version of browser is required. Okay. That is the executable file we should download it. Okay, clear? Now, so we are going to write the script and we are going to refer to a library which is called as a Selenium library. Okay, and here we are not going to use any other editor except your we can make use of IntelliJ, okay, or we can make use of Eclipse. I'm using Eclipse because my Eclipse is configured with drivers. Okay, so I'm using Eclipse. Eclipse is your IDE, integrated development environment. We are not going to use our what do you say Selenium IDE. We are going to use Selenium Grid. Okay, Selenium IDE is restricted only to record and playback. No scripting is allowed. Okay, so we don't normally make use of Selenium IDE. Selenium IDE is just get an idea how to record, how to play back. But when we are writing our code, that code will be written by us explicitly by using all the Java features. Okay, and we are going to use browser drivers, browser, write the code and perform operations on our objects which are available. And that is possible with the help of identifying the object which is called as locators. Locators. Okay. So what is locator is? It helps in locating the objects associated with AUT application under test. Okay. If I want to write something on an object, I can write with the help of script. Okay. So normally what we do, we click and we enter the inputs like this one. Let me just activate XAMPP. Okay. I'll start the service. I'll come here, open the browser. Explicitly, I'm only opening it. Okay. So I have to open the browser, navigate to that location, give the URL, open the browser, check whether the object is appearing or not, then enter the value and click on submit. This is done manually. Okay. Okay, you can see here. I'm just giving localhost dashboard. Okay. So if I want to make any development changes, I can do that. For example, if I want to change this, generate table content HTML is there. So I just want to display HTML conversion I want to give. So I need to know the exact location where our file is located. Okay, so I'll just go here, explore. Okay, so in C drive, we have got XAMPP. Okay, so in C drive, we will be having the folder called as XAMPP folder. That's a XAMPP folder. In this, we'll have htdocs, where we can find dashboard. And this is the place where you have got all your files located. So I'm just opening up the file index.html, right clicking on this, and I'll say open with notepad. Okay, this is what we have, and these are the contents. So here we have got HTML file name, the title, whatever we gave, it is there available on top. Generate HTML content. Okay, so I'm just removing this. I'll say HTML contents. I just gave the changes, saved it, come back to your browser and refresh this. So developers normally they develop and make changes in the backend, and we will be able to see that in front end. Okay. So we have got backend, front end, and APIs. Three things will be associated with your entire project: backend, front end, and APIs. API stands for application programming interface. Okay. All right. So this is how the changes are made. Website is running, and whatever manual operations we do is we come here, we provide some input, come to the next text box, provide the input, and then click on generate HTML. This is what we are doing it manually. Okay. And we have done it even by using your Selenium IDE. So instead of Selenium IDE, we are going to write the code and explicitly we are going to perform operations on the page. We're going to perform operations on this. Okay. And if you want to identify the object, there are different ways. This is one of the ways. Press function key F12 on the browser. You'll get dev environment. Dev, this is called as dev environment. And when you see on the left top corner here, we have spy button. Click on the spy button, point out the object, click on it, you'll get the code. And you can see it is identified with an ID called as table name. So I'm able to locate this object with the help of table name. I can even identify with the reference to name. Okay, ID name. Or I can even identify with the help of the object details. Input type text. So this is text. This is also text. Two text boxes we have. Let us check. So I'm spying on the first. Already did. Spying on the second one. Click on it. Even this is also of type text. But the ID is different. Here it is file name. Previously, this was named as what? Table name. So we have got table name and file name. Two different identification. So in a class, if I want to identify two people, I'll refer with their name. So even over here, we have got two similar objects. Okay. And if I want to identify that, I can identify with the help of ID, which is called as locator. Okay. At which place you're sitting is called as location. So you're sitting in fourth row, first seat. That is how you can locate it. The physical location of the person. So similarly, even over here, we can locate the object with reference to its ID. Or there are different ways. One more way is called as XPath. If you're not able to identify in some way or the other, then XPath would be there. Let us see. I want to identify the second object, not with ID. I don't know the name, but I want to identify the object. Let us say this is you and this one is you. So I want to locate you. So without name, what I'll do is I'll just come here, click on spy, point out the object. Okay, right click on this, and here you can see you've got copy. So I'll say copy followed with copy XPath. I copied it. Let us see what it has recorded. Okay, I'll come here and I'll paste that. So it has given me the name. So your name is field name. I can easily find out. Okay, this is one way. Instead of this, assume that even with this, I'm not able to identify. Then what to do? The same object, right click on it, and you can see copy. Here we have got copy full XPath. I can say this and I can copy the complete XPath. Let us check. This is how it has copied. Okay. One more time, I'm copying it for the first object. First object. Okay. Right click on this and say copy full XPath. Now check out the difference in between the code. Okay. This one is you. And for you, this is the identification. You are the first person and you are the second person. That is how we can identify. So when you're able to identify the object, I'm able to know that you are number two. So can I give you only a question? Can I put a question only to? Yes. I can say person number two. Okay. Write down a query. So I'm giving directly instructions to you. If I want to give question to him, I can say person number one, write down the question. Okay, so similarly, these two are two text boxes. Now I can say that in that text box, I want to type hello. Okay, in the second text box, I want to type how are you? How are you? I just gave this. So what it will do, this hello will be typed in the first text box. Okay. And the second, how are you, will be typed in the second text box. Now, why only in that? Because we have identified the object with unique ID. This is called as index ID, which is called as locator. Okay, there are 4 to 5 ways of identifying the object with locator. That is what we are going to study in detail about. Okay, so what is that you have to do now is practice. Number one, downloading your IDE and start working on it. Just record and playback just to get an idea. But actually speaking, we don't use your IDE in the projects and in the task that is being given to you. We never use IDE. IDE is just for your understanding. Okay, we are going to write script. So whatever you have learned in Java, that will be again coming back. Okay, that oops concepts up to oops concepts, methods, oops concept, you have to refresh it back once again. Okay, so parallelly we are going to work, taking one topic in Java and integrating that with our Selenium ID. So in that way, we will learn the things which are required. Okay, so once we know how to perform tasks on all the objects, Selenium will be completed and we have to learn something called as framework. Okay, so there'll be 2 frameworks. We'll finish off those 2 frameworks. That is how. Okay. Any questions after this part?